weekly review. Oh, Nick's back.
Nick, you're on mute. Nick, you're mute.
No, we can't hear a word you're saying, mate.
No, Nick's on mute, everyone. Steve, can we hear you?
I don't know, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Steve. So, Nigel, over to you.
Right. Good evening. We're here to review yesterday's match against Millwall in the third round of the Cup. But just to let you know, we've already had the draw this afternoon for the fourth round. And we were actually first out the hat. And we've got a home tie against Hartlepool. So, personally, I'd have preferred if we'd had an away game against Hartlepool, but that's because I live 20 minutes away from Hartlepool's ground. But that's by the by. Yep, we think Mr. Stellan will be well chuffed that he's coming up to our place. So tonight, I say we'll be a quick look at the other games that have gone on this weekend. We'll review tonight's match, yesterday's match. We're going to have a quick mention about the AFCON. If there's any news we know in the transfer window, that will be discussed as well. We shall finish off with the match we've got coming up this Friday night down at the Plastic Stadium on the South Coast. So I don't know if anybody else has got anything to put in before we start.
No, it's a good job, Nigel. Carry on, mate.
Right. Well, we'll start with if you've got the lineups for yesterday. I say you can see on the left-hand side the Millwall starting 11. We weren't really bothered with that, were we? And for Palace, the main change that was there was Butland came in for Vicente. We kept the same sort of back four. We had Gallagher, Hughes, and Jeff Schlupp came into the midfield. Because of players gone off to the AFCON, we had Alessi, JP, and Ezzy as the front three. It was exciting to say the least about the choice of goalkeeper once the game got into full flow. But you're back, Nick.
I might be.
Hey, here he is.
Go on, Ed, I'll let you.
So where did we get to? Are you doing the lineups?
I was doing the lineup, so if you want to continue.
Yeah, no problem. So as Nigel just said, Butland in goal proved to be quite interesting. Joel Ward, Mark Gihey, Joachim Anderson, and Tyrick Mitchell, as you'd expect. Hughes, Schlupp, and Gallagher across the middle with Eze, Matata, and Alesi. Boys, I'm going to come on to. I'm going to start with your thoughts pre-game that he included Matata. And the reason I'm going to start with that is because, as I'm sure some of you will be aware, that during the week there was talk of him being released from his loan deal. Is it Mance? Is it his parent club?
Yeah,
Nigel, I believe
things, isn't it?
And he was supposed to be coming back to cancelling that loan with Mance and going to St Etienne in the week. There was even a picture of him allegedly on the Eurostar travelling to France. Your thoughts that he included Mateta over Edouard and Benteke? First of all, welcome back to Steve Mason. Steve, you all right, mate?
Yeah, good.
Your thoughts on that over
Benteke
and Edouard? Because I think, was he saving him, Edouard and Benteke, for the Brighton game, maybe?
I think that's the only thing that makes logical sense. I mean, I for one was blown away. I was absolutely shocked when I see his team name, and I was one that was definitely fooled in by the pictures. But you know, that's what social media is these days, isn't it? But I think, do you know what? If I think he had probably his only chance to really shine in a big game. I mean, we all know what he did against Brighton. The only good thing he did last season was score the one goal against Brighton. Even though someone pointed out in the group chat it was a bit lucky, but at the end of the day, it goes in. And then he plays against Norwich and he scores against Millwall. So it's like, I was gobsmacked that he was in the team, but I could see the logic behind it. You had the two big guns on the bench ready to come on should he, fail to do his job.
And obviously, Tim will be talking lots about Elise later on. Was there anything else on the lineup that struck you?
No,
Not really.
I can see logic with the goalkeepers being changed.
I mean, to be fair, I was quite pleased he played as many of the first teamers as he did. Let's say the regular first teamers, because it showed that he cares about the cup and he knows how important it is to us. So I wasn't too surprised about the keeper being changed, but I think we saw why he's not played that many games. But no, I was pleased. It showed commitment. It showed that he knows what we think of the cup. So no, it was pleasing. I was pleased to see it.
Nigel, Tim makes a good point actually about how seriously the manager's taking it. Strong lineup. You're happy with that?
Yeah, I was very happy with it. I know we had problems with the keeper during the match, but when you look at most of the games that have gone on this weekend, I think it's every game it's been the reserve keeper has been sort of appeared. Seems right across the board. So that's just common practice, and I think Patrick wants to win the FA Cup this season. He's a proven winner as a player, and I think he wants to prove he can win something as a manager.
God, how good would that be? Anyway, Tim, remiss of me in case Nigel hadn't done it at the top of the show, to welcome you and Wendy back to the UK. So it's great to have you with us on a Sunday evening as opposed to a Monday morning. Welcome home, mate.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's just somewhat surreal. I think it was 29 degrees back in Christchurch today. So, yeah, but no, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Right, okay, so before, Nigel, I'm going to get your notes ready because I'm going to do a couple of bits and pieces to start with, and then I'm going to hand over to you to do the first half of your piece of kind. When Palace last played Millwall in April 2013, the side played out an uninspiring goalless draw in South London, in the South London derby. An impact of both ends of the championship table at that time. Both sides knew a win would be enough to either seal their ambitions, survival in one case, and a shot promotion in the other before the final day of the season. But neither side was willing to take the risks, and useful for both. Glenn Murray had an early chance, and David Ford saved off the line. Owen Garvin also had an opportunity to tap into an empty net, but instead he missed it. Lions goalkeeper Ford also denied Yannick Bolasie on that day. So it's been a while since we played this lot, okay? And if those of you that are watching last week will remember, I've got some particularly horrible memories of that place. New Den in South London. It is like going back to 1984, and you're going to have to forgive me because I'm going to go on one of my little 5-minute rants. Millwall and Crystal Palace, a huge brawl outside the stadium on match day as police make 4 arrests. A total of 4 people have been arrested after the FA Cup clash between Millwall and Palace saw a steward assaulted and a bottle thrown at players, according to the Metropolitan Police. One apparent brawl outside the New Den Stadium in New Cross was caught on camera and has now been deleted. The deleted video shared on Twitter. 2 people have been arrested for suspicion of assaulting a steward, and another arrested as a flare was thrown, which we're going to come on to in a minute. A final arrest was made as a fan allegedly invaded the pitch. The video of an apparent brawl that took place outside the ground appears to show a number of fans battling with police officers, so that's very relevant. And as we know, the game eventually ended 2-1. Now, I've got a direct appeal, a personal appeal here to the FA. This is not just about violence inside and outside the stadium. And my understanding is, yes, I know there was a flare thrown from the Palace fans, but the thrower of the flare was actually in the Millwall side. It was the blue flare that came onto the pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, we witnessed the knee taking yesterday and the Millwall fans booing. We witnessed a whole load of abuse aimed at our manager, Patrick Vieira. We heard the stand singing in unison about some homophobic charges aimed at all the Palace fans. I'm not going to repeat it on air. This is a direct appeal to the FA. It's now time. This is getting beyond the joke. How many chances did that pub team up in New Cross have to be able to put this to bed? It needs to stop. There has been generations of it, generations of aggravation, problems with that club, and it is like going back to school. It wasn't just one or two isolated homophobic chants. It just wasn't one or two supporters in the stands. It was the entire stand from where the video was captured. We're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of them, in unison. All the gestures, the hand gestures and everything else. I suppose we all do that at football matches, but the homophobic songs, the racist chants to our players, especially poor young Michael Elise, not acceptable. FA, you need to take action and stamp something on that club now. They are a disgrace to the Championship Football League. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. I mean, boys, I don't, any of you can jump in here, please do. It is one of those things where what sanctions can the FA throw at Millwall Football Club? Tim?
Okay. Millwall's always been the same. Like I said before the show started, I was a steward at Palace back in the 80s, and the stuff that I've seen the police take off Millwall fans would make your hair curl. But nothing will happen. The FA don't have the balls to do anything about it. If they had done, they would have done something years ago, because Millwall's been like it for, well, as long as I can remember. The stories that we've been told by the police that they caught Millwall fans doing, that the FA know absolutely everything about, but nothing happens. It's exactly the same as when England had a real bad football trouble back in the 80s and 90s, and we were kicked out of Europe or this, that, and the other. None of the other countries who did worse than our fans ever got in trouble. And it's the same in this country. The English FA do not have the guts to do anything about Millwall. They won't do it. You didn't hear, I mean, we watched the game on ITV, and occasionally there was a comment, oh, we apologise for the bad behaviour and the language that could be picked up. But nothing was ever said. You know, there was no condemnation from the commentators. There was nothing being spoken about it on the TV. So, yeah, Millwall will get away with it. Nothing will happen.
I'm just ready. Tim, get ready to say some hellos in the chat for me in a second. I'm just going through, reading some of the comments on there. Thank you for your kind words. But I mean, people are calling them scumwall in there and that sort of stuff. And they are. And somebody else said, I think it was Ryan, said they're backward. They're backward. They just look like a bunch of, and I can say this, okay, you two on the right can't say it. Tim and Nigel, I can say this. They look like a bunch of old men that have got nothing better to do. You know, the former dockers, the docks have been closed for 25 years. It is getting to the point where now it's gone beyond a joke. Tell me, how did they get hold of a chair that they could throw onto the pitch?
I don't know, but it's a bit of a pattern for them, because I remember, I mean, going back, I know it's obviously more than 10 years ago now, but I remember when they first came back up from the old League One, and I think we hadn't played them for many, many years. And it was the game that we unfortunately lost 3-1. But like, even when Millwall won 3-1, they ripped out probably about 10, 15 chairs from the Arthur Weight stand and lobbed them into onto the pitch. It's a common theme with them. It's just like they will, to do that in an away game is like, it's taking a piss because that's our home. But to do it in your own ground, it's just like thick. It's just.
But then, Paul, I'll say some hellos in a minute. But then Paul Bristow, makes a very good point. He said, Nick, were you at our home game with Brighton? We are no angels. We gave Lewis Dunk some terrible stuff. Now, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't here, so I haven't heard it. But it's one of those, it's a real fine balancing act between banter and, giving abuse versus homophobic, racist, or anything else. So I don't know. I mean, there's things both sides by the look of it.
Paul Bristow, I saw your comment, mate. Okay, and I'm glad Tim picked that up, and you're absolutely right. Leon Sounds, mate, I keep inviting you onto the show. You've never joined us. I'm sorry to hear what you've just said in the chat, that you hate Millwall. You've been racially abused by their so-called fans loads of times. as a club, as a family club, and that's what they class themselves as. They class themselves as a family club. What a joke that is. We are a family club, a club that prides itself in its diversity. Okay, both with the, you know, I will not tolerate homophobic chanting, including Lewis Dunk. Okay, I just will not join in it. Okay, you know, it's the times have moved on. You know, the homophobic stuff. Come on, guys. 2022. Is it enough? Okay. FA, please take action on them. Please take action on them. Ian Noble said in the chat, good evening, Ian. I hope you well, mate. Points deduction is the only thing that's good, acceptable for them. Right, Tim, say some hellos for us, mate, please.
Right, okay, let's go back up. So, Tom Clark Samuel, Daniel Garlick, hello, Ryan Hinton, Damien Toms, Jason Green, John Gaston, Sean Feeney, Daniel Garlick again, Steve Tween, Brad Campagnac, Gary Essex Eagle Milton, Graham Kritcher, Sean, Steve Chandler, Mukhtar, Paul, Ian, Ryan, Evening, Andy Hopper, Paul McNamara, loads of people out there. Dawn, hello Dawn, John Knox, George, have to catch up sometime soon. Mukhtar, yeah, there's a lot of people, mate, a lot of people.
George Owagwe, I know you're out there, mate. My commiserations for your results for your second team, Arsenal. I know I see you there, buddy. My sincere condolences for your Arsenal getting knocked out of the FA Cup. Still, at least you've got Palace to carry on. Right, Nigel, first half of the game, please.
Right, let's get started with the. Right, as Nick said, just prior to the kickoff, everything was mired by the mass booing of the taking the knee, which took the sort of shine off the edge from the start. The Millwall tactic from the beginning seemed to be just sort of like crowd us out in the midfield, and for most of the first half, we didn't really have anything to sort of come against that. And it was actually Millwall that had the first big chance, and Afobe, he really skied one. I think it must have gone up with the Palace fans in the top tier. But then came the opening goal in the 17th minute. Don't know where to start with that, really. The ball was out on the Palace left. It got passed back into the goal with this tippy-tappy ball that we like playing these days to the keeper. And he just absolutely gifted it to the two Millwall players in front of him. And I say Benik Afobe just absolutely smashed it into the net. And I say that the place just took off from what I heard on the television.
Nigel, can I just interrupt you just for a second?
Yeah.
I'd like to ask the other two, okay, this, he just described it as tippy-tappy, this playing out from the back style of football, okay? If you have got the City goalkeeper in goal, or you've got the Man United goalkeeper in goal, or you've got the Arsenal goalkeeper in goal, it works, okay? We are dealing with players such as Joel Ward at the back, and that's who he's playing to. You know, Tariq Mitchell still learning his trade. Are we ready for that style of football? I get that we're probably playing some of our best football this season. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, I'd like your views. Guaita doesn't seem to have had the best of seasons so far this year, and now Butland made that one error. In fairness, it was only one error. Steve, I'll come to you first. Are we ready for that style of football?
Well, I think you've got to give it time. You've got to let them try. There's no point in trying something for a couple of months and then, you know, it's got to be evolved, and there's going to be, you know, mistakes. There's always going to be. But I think when you look at what happened in that scenario, I remember watching it back several times, but you can just see that he was clearly caught in two minds as to what to do. But there was a simple ball. When the players closed him down, there was a simple ball to the edge of the 18-yard box that would have got him out of trouble. And I just think he got caught. He was like a rabbit in the headlights, and I think it was just a mistake. Luckily enough, it didn't cost us in the end. But, you know, I think, you can't just give up once it happens once. And it's not Guaita. If it was Guaita and he had done it a couple of times, I'd be concerned. But it's one mistake, albeit against our rivals in the cup with our backup goalkeeper. I don't think we'll read too much into it. We've just got to sort of brush it down, take it as a mistake and carry on.
Okay, Tim, the better teams at it, the Man Cities of the world, even let's say Man United, the game in goal, they play a balance of it. Okay, a balance of when the need arises to maybe go, or the game actually arises. What's going on in the game arises. He'll kick from hands, or he'll punt it down the field. There has to be a balance, though, doesn't there? I see all your comments in the chat, everybody, and I'm reading them. Okay, but Tim, there has to be a balance. At the moment, we're doing it statically all the time. Every move, every time the goalkeeper's got it, we're playing out from the back. There has to be a balance, isn't there? Am I not right?
Well, yes and no. I mean, beginning of the season, the Chelsea game and the game after, I can't remember. Watching back at New Zealand, I'm surprised you didn't hear me from there, because it was just, they obviously were not ready for it. But you have to say, the last I don't know, couple of months, I think they've done all right. And as been said in the chat, that's how Anderson and Guy and Mark, as Ian calls him, because no one can pronounce his surname, that's how they get the ball to pass out and do, the diagonal, the long ball, by playing out from the back. So I think, like Steve says, I think I'm a bit of a convert to it. You're right. There are times where you just have to put your foot through the ball and clear it. But no, I actually quite like it. It's a new dimension. For seasons, we've been saying about, let's have some progression. Let's develop. Let's move forward. Let's improve the football. Let's try things. Well, Vieira's doing it. So I can give it time. Yeah, I'm quite like it.
Nigel, I interrupt you, mate. Carry on.
Yeah, wait. So carry on with Tim was there. I think that's why our possession has gone up so much this season, because we're playing it out from the back now, and we're not just giving it the big hoof ball up the middle, hoping we're going to sort of retain possession when it gets, into the first third of the opposition's half.
57% yesterday, our possession. Nigel against Millwall's 43%.
Yeah, we were. I think we're over 70% at half time.
I mean, you talk about Butland and you talk about playing it out and mistake he made, but let's be fair, it wasn't the best first half, I think Nigel said. But how many clear-cut chances, up until the last 5 minutes, how many clear-cut chances did Millwall actually have that we looked in trouble from?
Yeah, no.
I'll leave before I get Nigel to move on. I'll leave you all with one thought, especially in Facebook land. I'll leave you with one thought that just remember, goalkeepers are not football players. They're not footballers. They're not skilled footballers. Okay. When I played football, okay, guess who was in goal? Because I was shit. Okay, because I was shit on the ball. Okay, and that's the reality. And if that's what the players, if that's what the managers want them to do, the manager came straight in and he's introduced it immediately. These players need time to. These goalkeepers need time to adapt to how to play the ball correctly. And sadly, yesterday we saw the negative side of it. Nice, continue, mate.
Yeah, right. Just to quickly answer Tim's question about the first half. Both teams had 4 shots. Millwall had 3 on target, and we only had 1. So that was from the first half stats. But I say, going back to the game, after they'd sort of scored, it still took us probably a good 20 minutes to really sort of get a grip on the game. It's probably about the last 10 minutes of the first half. I thought we sort of finally got a grip of them. I say Jeff Schlupp, he had a decent shot, which sort of I think their keeper long. I think his fingers must still be stinging from that one. And then Conor Gallagher fired just wide. But I say it stayed 1-0 to Millwall at half time.
Go, mate. Go, carry on. Let's get on to the interesting stuff.
Right. Not quite sure what Patrick said to them at half time, but they definitely came out a different team the way they were playing. And I say it only took, sort of about a minute and a half for us to sort of get the equaliser.
I think it's like 57 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, if we'd have been playing in the Premier League, the goal wouldn't have stood. Because we're at the Den and there was no VAR. Mateta received the ball in an offside position and then passed it to Conor Gallagher, who then sprayed a beautiful ball out for Michael Alessi to sort of come in from our right. And I say he beat two players and then just dipped and he bent the most perfect ball sort of through the Millwall defence, and it sort of hit the far post and just ricocheted back into the centre of the goal. And obviously the upper tier of that end just took off from there.
And he could have nearly had a carbon copy more or less immediately after, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 5 minutes later, he did exactly the same thing. Came in again from the right, put the same shot in. He hit further down the same post, but the ball struck off the bottom of the post, and it came straight back out. And Mateta was there, and he must have been an inch or so away from just getting a toe on it to make it 2-0.
Boys, just so you know, Lord Holyoke of Orpington is watching the show. For God's sake, Steve, put out the stat. Okay, give him the stat that he's waiting for. Then he'll go again.
Well, you would have had a hat trick.
No. I'm talking about Luis's stat. Alessi. Anybody got it?
Hold on.
Oh, he's been involved in 4 goals. I think it's like 2 goals, 2 assists in over 2 games, but in 90 minutes.
Less than 90 minutes. Yeah, Joe, we've remembered it, mate. Less than 90 minutes, 2 goals and 2 assists in less than 90 minutes. We put it in for you, mate, I promise you. And good evening to you. Right, keep going, Nigel. So, the first goal, as you said, who played that ball into Mateta? Can you remember?
I can't remember who played it into Mateta.
Tyrick Mitchell played the ball in from the left. Okay, to Mateta. Gallagher plays it out right to Elise, and we know that young Michael did the rest. Keep going.
Right. I say, as I said, five minutes later, we had a carbon copy, and it came straight back out rather than took the angle. And I say Mateta was inches away. And then sort of about 5 minutes after that, we just took control of the game. I say this time, Alessi, he turned provider and he just swung a beautiful ball in, and JP was there in the middle. He had to he had to make his position to get his head onto it, but he just slipped it into the back of the net. I say from there, that's when a lot of the chance went off.
Well, I'm going to hold you there, guys. Again, same thing again, and there's that famous kick of the corner flag. Who played the ball to Gallagher in midfield?
Mitchell again.
Let me help you. It was actually Hughesy. Now, pre-show, boys, one of you were asking me the question about young Hughes, okay, and your question was actually about when's Macca coming back, and we've really missed him. Now, in my mind, Hughes has been did we agree he played 4 games so far? Absolute revelation to us. It was his fighting tackle in midfield. He passed it to Gallagher. Gallagher put it out to Alessi. Okay, Alessi put a great ball into Mateta to head home. But it all started just in front of our defence and his little fighting spirit. He's a little tiger. Tim, tell me what you think about young Hughesy.
When we signed him, I was a bit kind of, Hughes, ex-Watford. But when I, as you know, went to the Norwich game, and because great seats, Humsdale down near the pitch, and I watched him. Yeah, I watched him for most of the game, and I'm so impressed with the stuff that he does, like Macca does, that you don't see, that doesn't get lauded. But his work ethic, the up and down, the getting stuck in. He's quite a tough player. I didn't realise he had that part of his game, but he gets stuck in with the tackles. I think he could be. I mean, we bang on about Ezzy and Alessi and all that, but if Hughesy keeps going the way he's going, especially with Macca being the age he is, I think give it a couple of years and he could be one of the buys for quite a few years. I think.
Reminds me of the old Michael Hughes that we had many years ago.
Yeah.
That tough tackling baller.
which is what our centre of midfield needed. If you think about it, when Luca was in there, that ball that he intercepted in front of our defence yesterday, that could have easily. And I'm not slagging Luca off. He's still the club captain, so respect where it's due. Okay, he is just. Luca could have easily lost that. Okay, in front of our defence, and could have ended up in a goal. And Richard Harvey, I want to talk about Richard Harvey actually. Richard Harvey is just said he's Macca's replacement, which is exactly what I said last week. Had you watched the show, Mr. Harvey? Okay, you clearly didn't, because that is exactly how I called it. Mr. Harvey, I understand you've tested positive today. I won't tell everybody what I called you positive what, okay, but I hope you're feeling okay and you're feeling better, mate. And do I understand you've got a spare Brighton ticket going? Because if you have, let me know. Or did you ever have one? I don't know. Did you ever have one? So,
he's not part of that scamming group, is he? That everyone's been raving about.
What group?
There's loads of people apparently been offering tickets for Millwall or Brighton at like hundreds of pounds, and apparently a couple of people are falling for it. But actually, it turns out they're.
Steve, I know we're digressing here for a minute, but you've actually just raised a really valid point. Okay, let me come in there, because I am aware on the socials this week and last week that there is some scamming going on, and it involves Crystal Palace tickets. Please, 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 only buy a ticket from somebody who you know, you trust, and everything else. Okay, do not get involved in one random off Twitter saying to you, "I've got a spare ticket for X, Y, and Z game." Don't fall for it. Don't be the one, like the poor guy said the other day. He's 80 quid out of pocket because he fell for it and never saw it. Buy it from Palace fans, people you know. I quite often have the odd ticket to sell. Contact me. I don't care. Okay, and, people who you know, or you know the name. If you don't know the name, ask somebody that does. Grant Saunders is obviously another person that can help you out and point you in the right direction. Just don't get caught with your pants there. Keep going, Nige.
Yeah, just on the tickets, it was, if you went into their profile, it appeared to be 4 women.
Oh, really?
And if you actually went into the profile, there was very little comments when you go back through the history. So if you're going to do it, just have a little look through, see who they are, what they follow. It does give you a heads up. But back into the match, after we scored, I say that's when the flares came down onto the pitch. The still came out onto the pitch from the Millwall fans. We had the homophobic chanting coming on. But we just seemed to sort of stand out, sort of be able to stand there and take what they gave at us. We didn't have many more chances after that in the game, but we just sort of just saw the game out and got the result that we fully deserved. So, and that's about it.
Michael Lisi inspired Crystal Palace's turnaround to spare Jack Butland's blushes and help the Premier League side avoid an FA Cup shot at Millwall. The former England goalkeeper Butland's howler gifted Ben Afobe a Millwall deserved lead. But lively Elise, an £8 million signing from Reading, called home a wonderful leveller and cross for Jean-Philippe Mateta to head home the winner. The game was marred, however, by some unsavoury scenes off the pitch. A section of the home crowd discernibly booed players at kick-off for taking a knee in support of the Black Lives Matter movement before kick-off. And there were audible homophobic chants directed at Palace's on-loan Chelsea attacker Conor Gallagher, while a bottle was thrown from the stands and struck Elise as he prepared to take a corner. Nigel, pick up on the ITV commentary. Was it you that said to me about it? Or
yeah, see if I can find it.
Tim, you do it.
Yeah, Wendy and I watched the game on ITV, and even Wendy commented on the sheer bias in the commentary and the sheer rubbish that was being spoken by Ashton, who was like saying, "Oh, Hugh should have been was lucky not to get a red card." Even they were saying other stuff. It was so obviously biased towards Millwall. But again, not a single comment was made about the only thing that was said about what the Millwall fans were doing, like I said before, was we apologise for the swearing that you may hear on our effect cameras, on our effect mics. Nothing about the homophobic, nothing about the racism, barely a mention about the bottle thrown at Elise. All they said was Elise is lucky not to get booked for gesturing back at the crowd.
Yeah.
It was just rubbish.
Right. Just on the bottle throwing incident, the poor excuse ITV had as a co-commentator, Dean Ashton, he actually said Elise shouldn't have reacted to getting a bottle thrown at him, while adding that he should have read the room before giving some back. Sort of coming from Dean Ashton, I think that's a little bit over the top.
Ryan,
apparently,
when
the game was shown back later in the evening, ITV had edited that comment out.
Really?
Yeah.
Ryan Hinton said in the chat, he's a joke of a pundit. He's a shit football player as well, Ryan, as well. So he ain't done very well in his life. Steve, you got any thoughts on those comments?
No, I think what you said is right. I think it's an absolute joke. It's like whether they was scared to portray Millwall or something or not, but just literally to say, oh, sorry if you've heard any swear words, not, oh, there's stupid supporters making, noises like that coming from the Millwall fans. There's nothing. And I think not only was, I obviously caught the comment about Will Hughes, but I think also made a comment about Anderson as well when the player went through the back of him and he kind of come down and give him a little slap on the cheek. It wasn't nothing major, but it was like, oh, he's lucky just down the field as well. It was like the whole world was set against us because they don't want to upset, that part of London. And it's just an absolute joke. But an ITV have always been like that, haven't they?
Tim, you got anything in the chat, mate?
Teresa Baker. Hi, Teresa. CPFC should demand a statement from ITV or that commentary. I watched on an American station. It was exactly the same. Daniel Garlick, referee and pundits were shocking yesterday. Rob Cranfield, Ashton is a word I can't use. Chris Brandrick, if you read the room at the Den, you wouldn't come on the pitch. I'm not sure what that's about. Agreed that the commentators were poor. Matty Cannon, I thought Elisa's response was very calm. Very calm. He just casually kicked the bottle off the pitch, didn't he? Exactly. So a lot of comments about it, a lot of comments about Millwall. Ryan, you already meant that. We would sit back at the door. Yep, that's it. Yep, lots of other ones as well.
And Palace were without several first-team regulars, including Wilfred Zaha, Cheika Kouyaté and Jordan Ayew, all the way on international duty at the Africa Cup of Nations. And Elise's grasped the opportunity handed to him in their absence. Making just a third start for Patrick Vieira's Eagles, he almost single-handedly turned the game on its head in a moment when he cut inside the fire, inside the post, and bring Palace level. And as we know, he then supplied the winner. So Palace run out 2-1 winners. And you did the draw at the top of the show, Nigel, did you?
Yes.
So there's our possession stats. As I said earlier, 50% possession, shots on target only 4, off target 6, corners 4, passes completely 371, which you'd expect from a Premier League team, and 1 offside each. So Hartlepool at home in the next one, in the fourth round, to be played between the 4th and the 7th. Somebody's just told me privately that they think it's going to be either the 6th or the 7th, depending on TV. I'm not too sure about that, but we'll wait to find out. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you've had your Christmas off, okay, away from Red and Blue Review. Those of you who don't know, get onto the Red and Blue Review.co.uk website where you can find, it is 5, isn't it, Nigel? Is it 5? 5 shows?
Yeah.
5 short shows with the master, with the God, Sir Steve Coppell, graced the Red and Blue Review, okay, just before Christmas. And we recorded that interview and played it out over Christmas if you missed it, okay? Very simply, just pop onto the Red and Blue Review.co.uk and just click the link. It's really simple. We are not, unlike some of the other Twitter pages and other podcast. We are not charging. We are not sitting behind a paywall or anything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it for you. Steve Coppell, absolutely free of charge to you from the Red and Blue Review listeners. Please enjoy them. Give us some feedback. Let us know. You can also find them on our YouTube channel. And also don't forget to ask your smart speaker to play Red and Blue, the latest podcast from Red and Blue Review as well, because it's there for you. That'll be on Twitter, and the podcast from tonight's show will also be up on all our socials shortly after the show. Nige, can you talk to us about? There may be people out there that are interested to know what Wilf, Checker, and Jordan are doing. Just give us their first games each, if you'd be so kind.
Right. Mr. Ayu, he plays for Ghana on Monday the 10th. Tomorrow they're playing Morocco at 4:00, and Friday. Well, you don't really want to be watching that because it'll clash with the Brighton game.
Yeah, just give them the
they
first
play
one.
Gabon at 7:00. I think all matches are live on Sky, I believe. Czech Coyote is playing Zimbabwe tomorrow at 1:00, and Friday Guinea at 1:00. And then Wilf plays for the Ivory Coast. Their first match is on Wednesday against Equatorial Guinea, and their second match is next Sunday afternoon at 4:00 against Sierra Leone.
Ian Noble's just said in the chat, and he's quite right. We play Norwich on the 9th, so we won't be playing Hartlepool on the 7th. Yeah, somebody just said, I was reading Twitter and our pages earlier, some of our chats earlier. It would be very interesting to see what Parish charges. You know, somebody actually suggested make it a £10 a head and sell the stadium out, which would be great. Thank you, Leon, for your comments on the Steve Coppell interviews. We are so proud of him. I think it's probably the best thing the Red and Blue have ever put out. And massive congratulations must go to producer Greg Ellis for all his hard work. Greg is actually producing this evening as well, behind the scenes. You can't see him, but he's there. So please congratulate. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, okay, on Facebook, all of you, can you just hit the love heart button for Greg Ellis and tell him just show him a bit of appreciation, please, because we're proud of him. Okay, I just want you to show that you're proud of him too. Please give him a bit of love, you know. So let's move it forward if we can.
For the Hartlepool match, I think Palace should give Hartlepool the Arthur. They can.
Who did they do? Was that Grimsby Town? They did that too a couple of years ago.
I honestly think that they can easily bring 5,000-6,000 down from Hartlepool for that match, because they are on a good run this season, and sort of gates are picking up down there. So give them the Arthur, and let's put a bit of atmosphere into the stadium, or a bit more.
Well, the other thing somebody suggested in one of the chats today was maybe charge us £15 a head. Charge us £15 a head, and then the club take. It's probably not even legally possible, but us take the £10 as we would have done normally, and just give the other £5 to Hartlepool, because, as you say, they've never been in such dire financial straits, and it would just be a nice gesture from the club. But I don't know.
It's just subsidising. That's all it is, isn't it?
There you go. Ryan just said it. I didn't see that. Ryan just said that in the chat. We should give the gates to Hartlepool in spirit of the FA Cup to help them out. Well said, Ryan. Couldn't agree with you more. So, sorry, what did you say, Steve?
It's just, when you're saying about sort of charge 15 and sort of donate 5 or whatever, it's just subsidising, isn't it? That's all it is. But I think that's a great shout. I think we're in a position now where we are fortunate. We've been in the Premier League for a number of years now. I think just donate them. It's the 4th round. What we're going to get, probably between 12 to 16,000. Well, 12 to 15,000. I think donate the money to Hartlepool. Just give them the gate receipts and the TV money if we get on TV.
It'll be on TV.
So is Hartlepool in trouble then? I haven't heard. I don't know what's been going on with them.
Mate, I don't know the details. Jeff Stelling, the Sky presenter, or the retiring Sky presenter now, is a director, and I know. There he is. He's going to be shut to pieces. It's coming to SC25. They've had financial troubles over the years. You know, I don't know the details of it. Ian Lyons is out there. Ian Lyons, we need you back on the show, please, mate. It's been a long time. You've had the longest Christmas break in history. So get your sorry backside back onto the review because people are missing you. And Mr. Noble as well. We need you back on ASAP. Right, let's move it on to guys. We've got another. We played one pub team yesterday, and on Friday night at 8 o'clock, we've got. Can we talk about our new South American fans, Botafogo? Says Teresa. All right, we'll do that at the end of the show. So we've got another pub team on Friday night, 8 o'clock kickoff down at the South Coast. I will be there in the chat. If you're going to the game, let me know. Put it in the yes or no in the chat. Richard Harvey does not need to respond because we know he never had a ticket in the first place. So how would you change, boys, any of the lineup on? And I'm looking for one answer, really. I'm going to see if anybody picks up it. Would you change the lineup for Friday night, or who would you bring back in? Bear in mind, you had Matthews, Klein, Kelly, Riedewald, Milivojevic, Raksaki, Edouard, and Benteke sitting on the bench yesterday. How would you change it? Nigel, you go first.
I think I might bring Benteke back in for JP. And obviously the keeper will come back in because we're back into a Premier match. But so apart from that, unless there's any major sort of injuries between now and then, I think it'll be virtually the same, apart from those two, same team.
Okay, I'm reading your stuff in the chat. Ian Appley saying goalkeeper. Stephen Lars is saying Edouard from Mateta. David Brace saying the same. Mukta saying Evening Mukta. Ian Lyons is saying Tim Humphries Tim is now looking much more sensible now. He's back in Blighty, is what he's saying. No. So, and Jamie Skinner is saying, "Hi Jamie, how you doing? JP deserves a start over Benteke." Well, he didn't do. Was it Edouard? He didn't do an awful lot wrong yesterday, did he? No. So anyway, Tim and Steve. Steve first.
I would actually. I like Schlupp, but I prefer Eze in the centre of midfield, and maybe bring Edouard and Benteke back. That's what I would do.
Okay, and Tim.
I'd start Mateta. I mean, he didn't get much supply, so it's Benteke. But what did he do when he came on? He didn't do much yesterday. So yeah, I wouldn't mind keeping the same. I'd like to see Eze in the middle. Is he match fit? I don't think so.
Okay, thank you, mate. Because the seamless link you've ever done there, and you don't even know you've done it, because the next subject in your hand is Eze. Okay, gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd like your views out in the chat. Eze is still coming back to match fitness, of course. Okay, I accept that he was out for a long time with a nasty injury. We haven't seen the best of him since his return, guys, have we?
No, and you won't do. It's going to take a few games.
So what we now? How many games has he played? I can't even remember how many appearances he's made so far this season. It's no more than 3 or 4. So I know I'm being a little bit harsh.
I don't think that's it. I think it's 2 or 3. He's only made cameo appearances, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah, he's been coming off the bench, isn't he?
Yeah.
And somebody else just said that in the chat. Maybe play Eze off the bench. I'll tell you what the reason I'm talking about it, because I know we tied Eze down to a. There you go. It was Gary Clark said it. Eze to start on the bench for me, and I make you right, Gary, as well. I make you right. I know we've got a difficulty with the 3 players out, but Brighton have. I think Brighton got 2 or 3 of their guys at AFCON as well. So it's the same for both teams, I should imagine. The reason I mentioned the Eze thing is because we tied him down to a 5-year deal. I want to talk a little bit, because we didn't, from my understanding, is Elise, we did buy on have a 5-year deal. Zaha hasn't been playing fantastically this season, but Elise has actually shown signs of God. If we don't tie him down to a long-term deal, like we did with Wilf, okay, it ain't going to take too long before the big boys start coming and knocking. What would we do contract-wise for Michael? Nigel, you first.
Well, we signed him back in July on a 5-year. So we've got him to the end of the 25-26 season.
Yeah, 6 months into it.
So he's 6-9 months into it. So we've still got just over 4 years. Maybe next season, look to put another 2 years on just to keep it at a rolling 5. But I don't think we've got any problems at the moment with the length of his contract.
Well, I'm sure what will happen is go for it, Tim.
Well, I would mention a note of caution on Elise, because no one can doubt his ability. Look what he did yesterday, but that was a championship side. Look what he didn't do when he played a game against Villa. I think his only other, full 90 minutes, he did nothing. So we mustn't forget that yesterday was mid-table championship team he was playing against. And yes, he was the difference. He was brilliant. And yes, he has got the potential there. We can all see that. But let's not go overboard yet on Elise and put pressure on him or expectations that maybe he's not quite there yet, but he definitely could be. But let's see him do it against Premiership opposition week in, week out before start going down he's the new Wilf path, I think.
Well, the reason the boys, Steve, I think you're reading the same chat as I am. Okay, the reason I mention it, okay, is and I asked the question out publicly. Ryan's come up with time down to another 5-year deal on better wages. Was my point. Okay, and thank you, mate. And Rob Cranfield then said straight away afterwards, only if we put in £100 million sell-on clause, which again I think would be relevant. Would you not? Anybody?
Yeah, this day and age, you need the sell-on clause there. If there's a minimum offer, it's the only way you're going to get people off their backs. Yeah. Otherwise, somebody will come and offer something stupid, and the club will turn around and say, "Yeah, go on, we'll take it."
Yeah, but once that's into someone's contract, though, if Elise, finishes off this season as well as he's been over the last few weeks, if he has a barnstorming season, then we give him a contract with a clause in it, and then he goes on to have an absolute worldie next season. That clause might actually not warrant what the market's worth.
Okay.
And I think it's always a danger because you're putting a price on someone not knowing what's going to happen in a year or so's time. With what's happened with Wilf, I think if there would have been a buying clause then over the last few years, I think it might have been a different story. But because there's not been a buyout clause, we've held the cards. And I think as soon as you put it in, you don't hold the cards anymore.
It's interesting that Ian Lyons has said in the chat that he said he thinks his opinion that Eze is carrying too much weight at the moment. Good observation in my mind. He needs games to get his fitness back, and he's probably right. He also another question for you guys. Ian also mentioned in the chat. This is why we need you back, Lyonsy. Okay, Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal.
Mm.
There was okay. I'm coming to you in a minute, mate. There was. My understanding was we really nearly signed him last season. There was just a last glitch delay, and I don't know what it was, which is why we then went in for Edouard. From the evidence you've seen, he clearly he knows where the net is. Would you sign Eddie Nketiah? Obviously, it would depend on Mateta going, of course. Steve?
I honestly haven't seen enough of Nketiah to make a decision, but in my new job, I work with 3 Arsenal fans, and I actually said to them last week, we've been linked with Nketiah. All 3 of them at the same time in unison went take him.
Mm.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we're missing something, but I don't know what we're missing yet. I think just stick with what we've got, and don't worry about that. Get rid of JMP or JPM and stick with what we got.
Okay, Tim.
I wouldn't rush out. Having watched the Arsenal game today, I don't see what all the big fuss are. I did read somewhere that Vieira's put a hold on Mateta going until we can get a replacement forward. I don't know if that's correct, but I wouldn't. I'd get rid of Luca as well. But no, I wouldn't rush out for him, to be honest.
Gary's saying in the chat he'd rather have JP over Eddie. Very similar. Matty Cannon said we've been linked with Jack Wilshere. So, Matty, you're right, but there is no way on God's earth we're going to pay his salary. That would be whoever takes that. I tell you where he'll probably end up. He'll probably end up in Newcastle because they can afford it. And how funny was that? The richest club in the world yesterday got knocked out of the FA Cup by who was it? Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Did he mean Wiltshire? Or did he mean Ramsey?
No, I think he means Ramsey. No, it won't be. Of course, Wiltshire's down. Where is he? He's down at Bournemouth now, isn't he? So that's that one. Jack Wiltshire, as Jamie's quite right said. So interesting times. We haven't done any business so far. There's been a couple more going out on loan. Of course, a couple of the squad players or a couple of youngsters will be going out on loan. I know that for a fact. But it is interesting times. And January is going to be a good month, okay? Because you know why? Because we're going to have Ian Lyons and Ian Noble back on the show as well. So I know that's going to happen. There is one fantastic image I want to leave you with for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If none of you saw Joel Ward leaving the pitch yesterday, okay, you have to understand with Joel Ward, he is extremely religious gentleman, okay? You'll never see a swear word or hear a swear word come out of his mouth. But the Palace fans in unison were doing the South London is ours song, okay? South London is ours. South London is ours. You know the next bit. And he was on camera going, he didn't use the swear words because he's a gentleman, okay? South London is ours, okay? And you could see how much it meant to him. If you need an image to see you through, there it is. That should be flying. Parish, that should be flying over Crystal Palace right now, okay? With South London is ours underneath it, okay? If you need an image, ladies and gentlemen, a positive image to see you through this week, okay, avoiding coronavirus, please look at Joel Ward's little face, okay, as he walks off the pitch yesterday. It summed it up for me, and it's why I love my football club. Boys, thank you very much. I'm going to call it a day there if you don't mind. Tim, great to have you back in the country. There's your fixtures coming up. So we've got Brighton on this week, followed by, I think we've actually, then Liverpool at home. Then there's a week's break. We've got Hartlepool in the Cup, that somewhere around then. Norwich, Brentford, and Chelsea at home. So, and look at where we are in the league, sitting pretty with some decent fixtures coming up. Boys, anything from you before I finish?
No, just I hope the ladies manage to come back up to the north next week and actually get a game. Yeah,
we were going to do a whole review on the ladies' game. Nigel was going to go and interview a couple of the players, but then sadly, 20 minutes before kick-off today, their game got postponed due to a frozen pitch because Nigel lives very close to the North Pole, as we know. So, Leon Sounds, I'm telling you again, get in touch because I want you on the show. It's so nice to have a positive, okay? It's so nice to have a positive spin over a local rival. Let's hope we can do it again next weekend against that lot down on the South Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, boys, all of you. Greg in the background, thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. On behalf of everybody at Red and Blue Review, please stay safe. I'll see you at Brighton. Come up and say hello to me. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and the team, take care. See you soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye.